Chris, what is our first main topic today?
First topic comes from Benson Wright. I love the episode you did where Rob sort of broke down Moon Knight for those of us who don't know much about the character. Me too. Wondering about his thoughts on the Disney revelation that is the show, his powers are dictated by the phases of the moon. Is that consistent with what you know in the comics, or is it some artistic liberties being taken? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Benson. And yeah, look, we were just talking about Lord of the Rings. That's my number one most anticipated series of the year. I have not asked Rob this directly, but I'm going to guess if I asked him what was his number one most anticipated series of the year, it's going to be Moon Knight. And whether it's your number one or not, it's got to rank right up there with a lot of you guys. Dropped the first trailer for it. Didn't get a lot of Moon Knight in it, but the trailer looked awesome. It looked really, really good. Oscar Isaac in there. You got Handsome Hawk as his foil. I mean, a lot of things are set up to look really, really good. But, you know, as Rob pointed out in that last video that you're referring to, there have been a number of different kind of iterations of Moon Knight, like even who the character is, what the character does, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of us for a while have been kind of pondering and wondering, what are we going to get in this Moon Knight? Like specifically in terms of powers and things like that. Anyway, this comes to us from the folks over at The Direct who write the following. An article from Disney Latino gives fans a deeper look at the upcoming Disney Plus series, Moon Knight. One section of the article, translated into English, describes the powers that, I never pronounced this right, Khonshu, that Khonshu will bestow upon Oscar Isaac's Mark Spector, one of which should be familiar to fans in the comics. Similarly, to his time on the West Coast Avengers in the comics, Moon Knight's strength, resistance, and reflexes will be influenced by the phases of the moon. The influence of the moon, according to its phases, increases its strength, resistance, and reflexes against enemy attacks. However, the most interesting detail is the Crescent Crusader having an entirely new power, allowing him to, quote, have prophetic visions of the future. One of his outstanding abilities is to have prophetic visions about future events. And that comes to us from the folks over at The Direct. Now, look, as somebody who is a Moon Knight novice, I've read a few things of Moon Knight. I don't know a ton about the character, certainly not on the level of one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Reading this stuff seems pretty interesting. So, Rob, let's throw it over to you. The stuff that we're hearing now coming out of that Disney Latino article, is this pretty consistent? Is it really brand new stuff? And what do you think about it?
Well, the thing is, like you pointed out, John, there are many different iterations of this character. Moon Knight originated in Werewolf by Night comics. And so he had a supernatural bent or adjacent quality to him when he was first created. And he's a superhero that's constantly under sort of reconstruction, reiteration. And when I first fell in love with Moon Knight, he was much more of a Batman-esque character. And the idea of Khonshu was more of something that might have been in his mind. But as the comics and the iteration of Moon Knight would change, Khonshu actually became an entity, like he was a real god and part of a pantheon of beings. So yes, they changed and they gave Moon Knight this idea that he changes his powers and abilities with the phases of the moon came in later. That was absolutely true. And this idea, and I, to be honest, John, then they really leaned into the schizophrenic nature of his multiple personalities. At first, they were utilitarian. They were like, he literally became Jake Lockley, cab driver, so he could keep his ears to the streets and find out, is there something I need to know? And he did the same thing with Stephen Grant, and his real iteration was Mark Spector, and then Moon Knight was his alter ego. But they changed that, and they leaned into that and turned him into a schizophrenic. And there's been some really interesting storylines where he believed he was believed he was Wolverine at one point, and it gets a little weird. So all of this I find interesting, and I think adding the idea that he has prophetic visions is interesting. Now, this is new. I don't seem to recall any iteration of Moon Knight doing that, but it seems like they're really leaning in to both the schizophrenic nature and maybe more of the supernatural, which I actually kind of like.
Well, I was going to ask you that because with the changes coming, right, with them adding new elements to that, as a long-term, well-versed, hardcore Moon Knight fan, how does that sit with you that they're taking that sort of liberty?
Well, I mean, it's been hard because I've liked various iterations of the comic much better than other iterations of the comic. So it's the kind of thing where whenever I read a new comic series, I'm like, I wonder how I'm going to like this. Because a lot of them have been not as good as I would have hoped. So I'm hoping that this will be the ultimate definitive distillation of all the various iterations we've had over the last 40 years. One of the things I will say is having an actor like Oscar Isaac play all of these roles. I think if nothing else, we're going to get an incredible performance from him.
Oh, no doubt.
And as a fan, I'm hoping, that we're going to get something special. And the same way that, look, the WandaVision show might have been different than we would have thought, or I really thought that it was really well done. And I thought that central performance that we got from our favorite Olsen, she was amazing.
she was great. Ray, let me ask you, like, you were there, I believe, with me when the first Moon Knight trailer dropped and we watched it. And where's your, because you're like me, you're not a hardcore understander of everything Moon Knight. Where's your anticipation level like right now for this?
Not that great,
what?
to be honest.
Really?
Bengals are going to lose.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just because I was kind of confused by the first trailer or the trailer, but Rob is actually educating me right now. I gotta wait for the first episode.
Wait a minute, just right now?
I really got
all the time. Rob's always teaching.
I gotta wait for the first episode to get the gist of the whole character and like the just the whole, like the feeling of, like, the theme of the whole thing. So
I think a lot of people are in the same boat as you. I think a lot of people, because I think most people don't know anything about Moon Knight.
I mean, I
think a lot of people are waiting to see what that first episode's going to do.
Even me. Like, I'm curious to see where are they going to go and where are they going to start and how are they going to, I don't know. I have no idea how this is all going to work.
But the moon part is interesting. The powers
With the
thing
faces of the
connecting
moon?
to the moon. Because me and the moon.
Yeah.
We're like,
it's all about
we're like this. So that's
She's
cool.
your harsh mistress.
And Oscar Isaac, he's almost a sure bet in anything he's in. So that's all I have for it right now.
Chris, what about you? Like, where's your anticipation level? What do you think about the sounds of these powers? Does it change your excitement level for it? Where are you at right now?
I am excited because we have seen this kind of throughout the comics where the lunar cycles can affect him when he's not just like the Batman, almost at athletic, like Olympic level athlete standards, when he does have those superpowers. So I think that's fun. What I was worried about going into this was that doing this dissociative identity disorder would then become some kind of MacGuffin or punchline, or how are we going to handle mental health in a very constructive way, right? And having Oscar Isaac in this role really does make me feel like they are going to do something really, really profound and thought-provoking here, that I think will pay honor to where this comic character has been, but also take it in a direction where we can understand somebody's, mental state and not have that be just kind of some gimmick. I feel like it's going to be a storyline that has some real gravitas because this is an actor with real gravitas.
I agree.
John, did you ever get a chance to see the Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke reaction to the trailer?
I totally forgot about that.
Great.
It's pretty great.
I like it just because...
are they together when they're watching it?
Yeah.
They're both sitting there watching it.
Oh,
Because as soon as the Kid Cudi song comes up, Oscar Isaac points it out, and I was like, no way. You listen to Kid Cudi? I was like, I listen to Kid Cudi.
And their reaction
Let's go.
to seeing Moon Knight in the costume was pretty great.
Oh, I have not seen that yet, but I look forward to it. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about the sounds of what we're going to get from new Moon Knight? Are you excited about the way it sounds? Are you a little maybe put off by the fact that they're introducing new stuff that wasn't in the comics? Maybe that's exciting to you. Whatever you guys are feeling, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.